back with the House of Chapters podcast, episode 3 today, with our guest Kathleen Clare Waller, and we'll talk about self-publishing. Welcome back, Kate. Tell us a bit about your experiences self-publishing.
Sure. Yeah. I think Substack is great for self-publishing because, not only are you building an audience and community as you, whether you're serializing or maybe you're publishing other work and then, you can advertise what the books you're publishing in a different way. So there's different ways to use it in that way. But it takes away, it makes it more personal, right? So that factor of, as you said, people can just dump things from AI. And I think, there's this drive to get back to the personal and make connections with the writer, with the creator in different ways. And so, if people are following your voice and your story, whatever that looks like, I think I find it more interesting to, read other people's work that's been self-published in that way. Mm-hmm. So, it's an easier way to market, but it also gives you that sort of personal quality. Back when I published that book during my PhD, as I said, so partly It was just, the timing of I was so busy, but I also was like, I don't even know where to start. Like if I don't have a platform, it was, at that point it was like Facebook and, Instagram, but I don't think those platforms really, maybe you got like your aunt to buy your book and that's great. A couple of my aunts did buy my book and
Awesome.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And, we had a good conversation about it, but
they even read it.
Yeah, they even read it.
That's something else.
I know,
That's
I know.
really, really beautiful.
Not, exactly. So, even if you get out to a few people, I think self-publication is, a worthy practice just to make a finished product in that way. And that takes a lot of effort. And I think, it is easy, as you say, but I think also at the same time, it is a lot of work because you're, if you can afford an editor, that's great. Even if you do, it's still a lot of work to work with the editor. It's the design of the cover. And of course you can spend a little time or a lot of time working on these things. Mm-hmm. And I think, for me, it's all about, you want to enjoy it too. Like some of it is just going to feel like work to get it done and it takes time, but enjoying the process and all the different kind of avenues it takes you on. And I think, there is kind of that stigma with self-publishing, even though it's so common now and there's so many reasons to do it, to not even, sometimes it's worth like not even looking for a publisher depending on the type of project you're doing. Mm-hmm. And I'm not anti, using a big publisher either. I think there's different reasons to do it. But, there was this sort of manifesto put out by Eleanor Anstruther. I'm not sure if you know her. She's on Substack, but she does a lot of serializing. And she's also published with mainstream publisher. And she had this kind of manifesto of indie publishing. And she said, one of the issues is we call it self-publication, but why don't we just call it indie? Of course, there are indie publishers out there, but it is a kind of indie publication. And she had a lot of interesting things to say about it. So, I don't know. I've self-published a few times now, I guess 3 full books. I've switched to Lulu for my publication platform just because I hate Amazon, but it's still available on Amazon. So, I don't know if am I really making that big of a difference? Probably not. But,
I know what you mean.
But I do like Lulu. It's really a nice platform to use and it's international. It's on-demand publication. So that's quite a good one. But I think, it comes back to this enjoying the process. And then, if you're really focused on getting it out there, getting a big audience, that part of it, Substack is so useful for, but even then it's still a lot of work, even with Substack. And I think, the last one I self-published, an interpreter in Vienna, was just this, about a year ago, winter. And again, it was bad timing because I was in the middle of this really crazy busy job. But again, it was just the right time to do it. And I feel quite happy about the, you know, the kind of the success of it. Did I manage to promote it that much? No. So I guess it's just being aware, like, how much that actually takes. If you can't expect that people are just going to buy it because they're on your newsletter, for example. I think it takes a lot more than that. And, you know, there's people who are doing a really great job of it on Substack. You know, Eleanor is Clancy Studwell. That's not his real name, but he does a great job with his work. Troy Ford. And I wrote a blurb for Troy's last book. And there are some people who I would say I am not at all the expert on this for sure. I've gone through it a couple of times. They have only gone through it a few times themselves as well, but I think they've done a lot more kind of thinking about the process. And so I really enjoy reading what they've said about it.
That's interesting. I'll have to link those or
I'll
tag
send
and
you.
link those names.
Yeah.
Really interesting. So to sum up a bit your experience, I would say, so self-publishing, first of all, is setting a goal and reaching it. And so enjoying the process while you're doing it, but also setting this deadline maybe, and then actually doing it to finish the process, right?
Exactly.
That would be one interesting point for the House of Chapters and other listeners. Then you mentioned...
so, and
yeah, sorry?
Oh, no, I was just going to add, you know, kind of that finished product, really seeing it as, you know, piece of art that you're creating and you're finishing. And so I try to see it first that way, and then as something that, you know, of course I'd like an audience to engage with it. And so that's kind of the secondary part for me. Yeah.
Then you mentioned, is it called Lulu?
Lulu, yeah, Lulu.
Okay, which is a different platform if you don't want to publish with Amazon. Amazon makes it also easy in the sense that obviously you gotta have a story and prepare everything layout wise, but there are a lot of tools. That's what I mean by easy in this case. So what made you choose Lulu instead of Amazon?
Yeah, so I used Amazon my first times. This was ages ago, but it was still pretty easy back then on Amazon. I know it's gotten even easier. Lulu, I found likewise really easy. It was another writer who's not on Substack, who recommended Lulu to me as just an alternative, because so you can also, as I said, you can sell through Amazon. So I think Amazon probably doesn't promote the work as much, I'm guessing, speaking of algorithms and what they're going to push forward, but you can make it available anywhere. So bookshop.org, all these things. So it's been great. It's really easy to use, and I'd recommend it for people looking for an alternative.
Okay. Is there any no-goes or any advice, something not to do? And then I have a specific question in that direction, if you...
Anything not to do with self-publication, really? That is a good question. I would say, I mean, maybe this sounds obvious, but make sure you order a fully printed copy, a proof, and actually get it and read it before you let other people order the book, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So,
like digital or physical?
No, like in paper, see everything, because I have done that every time, and I have found so many things I have wanted to change each of those times. And I think it's really, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I think it's easy to think, it's finished and you've had, other readers and everything, you think it's ready. So that's one thing. And just, I guess just the other no is probably to time your release better than I've timed mine, if you really want to market it.
if possible.
budget the time for it if you can.
Yeah. Okay, that's so do you mean layout wise or actual like mistakes, or what is it you found?
It's been different things. It's been like the font or like just the way it looks to me on the page, or it's been, yeah, sometimes some mistakes. Um, Even just the way the cover works, like, is maybe not what I expected when I saw it digitally. So,
Yeah.
it's little things, but I feel like, if you obviously want to be really proud of the finished product. So, that was useful. It takes a ton of time though, right? Because you have to wait for that to come, and then it takes a while to go through
And
it,
so
but
do you,
it's worth
were
it's
you
worth
able,
it, yeah.
yeah, worth it. Were you able to order via Lulu or Amazon the book and before
Yeah.
you publish it, or how did you do that?
Yeah, so you can order a proof before you make it available
On
to
both
everyone. So
platforms.
basically, before you publish. Yeah,
Ah,
that's right.
that's really good to know.
Yeah,
Awesome.
really
Okay.
useful.
Yeah, my specific question was like, so a lot of us here on House of Chapters, just like you did, or correct me if I'm wrong,
Sure.
publishing chapter by chapter, is that a problem for later if you self-publish, or what do you think could be some, could it be problematic, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, good question. Yeah. So right, this last one, I published all of the chapters in serialization. I know some people are experimenting with doing like just a few. What I planned to do with this last one that I have on pause is to um, shorten it. So publish like the book in full, but take out like parts of the chapters and make the book longer. Because I think like serialization can kind of go on for a long time, and it can be, I think for me as the one who's writing it, can be exhausting to kind of keep the momentum going.
Yeah.
So that was one reason I made the change. But with an interpreter in Vienna, what I did with that serialization is I had a podcast that was accompanying the chapters. So I was kind of adding, I wasn't talking about the book itself, but I was talking about the layers that go into it. So maybe it was about like Vienna itself, where it took place, and then I was looking at that as a literary landscape, or I was looking at the cinematic in fiction, or Graham Greene himself, who was an inspiration, these kinds of things. And so that made it more of a meaningful sort of multimedia project for me.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, which was really fun. I'm not sure. I think, yeah, again, the serialization itself, it is, it can be tiring. I think if you don't like, I like your whole process with your serialization sounds great as well. You have like a real reason to do it. I think just kind of like pushing chapters each week can be really a lot harder than I think people realize at the beginning. And so, does it make it harder to self-publish at the end, which is your question? I think not so much. A lot of people then will put it behind a paywall once they publish the book.
Yeah.
I chose not to because I made it more of this multimedia project. So I think it kind of, I think there's so many ways to do it. It kind of depends what you want to get out of it. And I've even heard of cases where people have serialized and then published with another publisher, even though it's been online.
Okay.
So that was something, that used to be like a big no-no, but apparently it's not anymore.
It's changing a bit because I think in my time now on Substack, I've read several times the comment, don't serialize if you're planning on publishing. And also recently I saw once or twice someone saying, I will have to take it down or put it behind a paywall as I'm going to be published. So that's interesting. Which is self-publishing is a different story because I mean you're your own boss in that sense. But obviously, I think through Amazon you cannot leave it up for free.
Right.
An idea that I had was to, if I rework on my whole story, re-edit it and everything, add stuff, and then publish, obviously, that version, self-publish, the complete version, the finished story in that sense. That would be an option for serialized writers. So the community saw the process, read, and then there's still something exciting about the finished, self-published work. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think that sounds great. I mean, are you getting feedback that is making you think about like making some changes along the way, or how are you using the feedback, or is it more just
I'm not getting I'm not getting a lot of feedback as in constructive criticism to change something in that sense. So it's always difficult to interpret. I think a lot of people are in the same boat in that sense on at least from the House of Chapters community, because it is kind of a nice thing about Substack. What I've experienced, the comments are usually kind and encouraging.
Yeah.
Compared to maybe other platforms like Twitter or Reddit, which can be very negative.
Yes.
You know, and Reddit, for example, there are some subreddits about sharing your work, and then you'll have 1,000 views, 2,000 views, and 0 comments, 0 likes.
Oh,
so the views, like it's the post has been opened, but nobody writes.
I haven't
anything.
heard of that.
Or you just get negative feedback,
right?
And you don't know the person. You don't know what they're doing, and they're like, just maybe hating. So that's
Oh gosh, that's awful.
You got to be able to take criticism, keep your idea, keep your personality and everything, your voice. It's really difficult. So. My sister or my wife sometimes ask, is this the direction it's going in, or this is how I understood it? And I try not to spoil anything. But not criticism in that sense. And that's the big difficulty of not having an editor, right? You don't have someone who will just do their job and say how it is. But it's also the opportunity to do it however you want it. So there's no...
Right. Yeah. Exactly, yeah. No, and I think there's probably the opportunity for, like writers' circles or that kind of thing through Substack.
Yeah.
I've thought about maybe, and there are some writers that I've dialogued with that have helped in that way, not in quite as maybe as constructive way as you could have, I think, if you set aside the time to do it. But I think there would be people out there, like some of your readers, who would probably do it if you thought that would help. Yeah,
that's great advice. So that was really interesting. We got to the 40-minute mark.
I know. Sorry about that.
No,
I went on a bit.
I'm so happy. I mean, if I didn't have any kids, I love them, but we could probably talk for hours or until you say, "Hey, I gotta go to bed." But it's I can do 2 parts.
Too.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. I mean, I'm really looking forward to hearing, the rest of your series. It sounds like you're going to hit some interesting topics, looking at different platforms and the way that different people are using serialization. I think that'll be really cool for me to listen to. So
thank you so
for
much.
Doing it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. We might do another episode at some point in the future, because I feel like really there would have been still so much more to talk about.
Yeah, sure, why not?
And you have so much to share. There would be a whole other episode longer than this one where I would want to know about your travels and how you ended up in Japan and in Switzerland and everything. But that's for another time. Anyway,
that's another time. Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds great.
Yeah,
I would love to talk about it again. And I mean, best of luck with your new projects. I think they're just really cool. So
thank you so much. You too. I look forward to reading some more of your stories, and make sure to always send your first chapter so I can share it with the House of Chapters community, and we'll keep in touch.
I definitely will. Thanks so much, Ian.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Kate, bye.
Bye.